the takeaway from this is that you'll never struggle working out because your body will move like a child does. If you watch children, they absolutely need no freaking introduction to the move. No freaking introduction to the move. What's happening? My name is Albert. Are you movement illiterate? Are you? And so, first of all, thank you so much, Vanja, from Making Moves podcast, for introducing me to that wonderful term that helps me to convey so much of what I always wanted to try to convey on this channel, which stems from being movement illiteracy. Now, I like to start by saying that in the realm of movement illiterate, I'm 9 years old only. I started moving my body 9 years ago, when 9 years ago I could not walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. I was overweight and I lived the life of someone who was movement deaf. That means I sat to eat, I sat in the car, I sat in the train, I sat, I did not move. And then I was calling myself old because of my back problems due to sitting everywhere. And so same thing with joint pain, man. I wasn't moving my body. And so I got what everybody else was saying I was going to get. You know, movement illiteracy is so inbound that there's a 10-year projection of what's going to happen to you. You know, when you're 30, when you turn 40, this is going to happen. That's movement illiteracy. For someone to already say by the time you're 40, the aches are going to come, that's movement illiteracy, because it won't come if you're moving your body. If you're doing it naturally and you're involved in human movement. And so this subject here can really help people get out of a lot of that trouble that you are going to face. If you are freaking a robot, mechanically sitting everywhere and then going to the gym to work out in that mechanical sense, which is against your body's 600 plus muscles that is designed to move in so many different ways. And the way it can move, it helps the body. And it keeps the body alive. It keeps that, and it'll look after you if you look after your body the way it wants to move and run and jump. So I'm going to go through 12 ways for you to find out, man, is that me? And maybe you could pop out of it if it is you. And so I'm going to break this up into 4 videos because otherwise it'll be quite long. And so I'm going to only lay out 4, starting with number 1. So how many reps do I do? And so think about this. Whatever the exercise is, whatever. You have a body that has capabilities. You can find out from whatever angle you decide to choose. Let's say someone tells you, okay, the bicep curls. The amount is calculated, which means it's a standard. So right there, you're shutting down your own system that can grab the weight and say, give me something heavier, because you know your body. And now your body will relay how much you ought to do. Like you start to feel the pump. And when you feel the pump tells you the story. It navigates, not somebody else telling you, okay, stop now. That's an example of being movement illiterate, where you have to now ask somebody else about your own body that you ought to know. Even if you know nothing at all, you can just look at the exercise and follow it. You can also start very, very light just to be careful because you're not sure. And so you want to see how that exercise rolls out for you. And so that's number 1. Number 2, oh, that looks hard. That's too hard. That comes from directly being movement illiterate, because nothing is hard. Look at this right here. You think that's hard? Now you have to ask the guy, is that hard? Not you, because you ought to not do that, because the guy who did this stunt right here, he worked into it little by little. He just didn't do that stunt. That's another thing. When we get into exercises, we modify ourselves into being able to do the exercise. You don't just try to do a handstand right there. Oh yeah, the handstand looks hard, so let me just try to do the handstand. No. You go, wow, that's a handstand. And you can say, what are the modifications to unlock the handstand. And then, okay, well, you do it on your elbows, you get a pillow, you do it off the wall, you walk up the wall, and then you learn these steps here. But there's nothing hard about it. It's managing your body to adapt to those type of exercises, being upside down and getting your body to get used to it, and then building the strength in the wrist, the elbows, the shoulders. And then with time, you'll be able to unlock all these things that you're calling hard. And so if you can take just this, that whatever exercise you see is never hard, that person worked towards it. I watch children, they see me do push-ups, they immediately copy. They're all freaking sloppy and their neck is down here and they're going like that and they're freaking doing belly push-ups. They can't do it, right? But that's the introduction. They're not supposed to, okay, well, and knock out. And so whenever you say something is hard, that's movement illiteracy, that's movement deafness. That's like, there's no reason to say anything is hard. If you go to a circus, those guys are not flipping and doing all those things just on a whim because, oh yeah, bro, that's easy. So let me just do all these flips. They worked into it little by little. They learned the flips, the regular flips and tumbles. And then they got assistance to do the backwards flip. And they continued and continued and continued. So exercise is exactly the same. When you see an exercise and it looks like, wow, it's hard. No, it's not. The minute you say something is hard, you're jerking yourself from at least finding out for yourself, because there have been so many exercises that I have faced that look hard, but when I did it, it was very easy. And then some really wussy looking exercises that looked so easy. I was like, oh man, this is a challenge, because nothing's ever hard. And all I had to do was practice to the best of my capability and get as close as possible. And wherever I end up is where I end up with it, okay? And so now, number 3. I'm not going to do that because I read it causes injuries and I don't want to hurt myself, so I can't do that. That's dangerous right there, movement illiteracy. Because if you watch children, they're constantly falling on their head. They get up and they don't, I need to stop that. If you're already thinking that something's dangerous, no matter what it is fear that's causing you to think that way and react that way. Also, that exercise may hurt you means that you are movement illiterate, because you're not going to try to now modify into doing that exercise. And so, yeah, if I try to lift something way too heavy, there's an injury waiting for me there. But I am not that dumb to lift something that I can't. So I can't hurt myself. But if I try to do it and I'm not ready and strong enough and capable, then I'm a freaking accident waiting to happen. And so pistol squats, a lot of people consider that as a dangerous exercise because your ankles, all your weight is on one foot. But you don't start out trying to do the whole freaking pistol squat. This is the thing here. You start out with regular squats until you can do a whole bunch, and then you add weight when you're ready. And then when you end up at that level where you're an advanced squatter, then you can start leaning off different legs by doing lunges. And so now you're putting the body as the man on one leg to lift it up and down. Once you're able to do lunges and you're strong that way, then you could put yourself out of balance, which is what the pistol squat does. And you could start releasing a leg little by little, but you just don't do it in that one shot like people think. And so it's not dangerous. Or you read, right, it causes injury and you won't do it because of what you read. In that case, you're never going to do anything, because almost every exercise has risks. Whenever the body is in movement, you're always going to face potential harm with whatever it is that you do. And so now, when you know your body, you don't have to worry about being injured. Because I can feel my body. I can feel it when I get into an exercise, and I can feel a certain thing about it because I know my body. But I'm not going to freaking deny any type of exercise all because I read something about it. And so this way, now I face things and I face it within the caliber. I can't do all the exercises. I'm not a freaking circus performer. But whatever exercise I do, even the circus things that I see, I say it's not hard. I just never learned to do it. But if I got into that sport and I was freaking crazy like them to do the flips and the things that they do, then I would manage to get as close as to whatever my body can do relative to whatever it is that I want to do. And so, no injury, man. You spare yourself. Okay, look at it and learn to modify. And if you don't know to modify, like, modified push-ups means you're not doing them straight out, you're doing them on your knees. If you don't know that, then you're movement illiterate. Because you should know automatically, like, I can't lift my body. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to decrease the load that I need to push out. And so I'm going to do them off my knees, or I'm going to do them off my bellies. Now, if you do not know this, you are movement illiterate. Now, number 4, your trainer tells you what to do. That's another sign of movement illiteracy, because you're now denying this here that can speak to you in volumes. For example, I never know what I'm going to work. Like tomorrow I'm going to exercise. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But what happens is that I get this itch by 12, 1 o'clock like that, and I start to think core or something, or I feel like running. There's a certain sense that just tells me. And then I set up and I'm running or jogging or doing this or doing push-ups or doing whatever. There's this kind of yearning that happens automatically that comes from this system. So I'm trying to get you out of movement illiteracy by getting in touch with your innate system that has 600 plus muscles that can move. And so trainers are awesome. They're great company. They have knowledge with a whole type of exercises that they can turn you on to. But if your trainer is this freaking rigid, do 12 and 15, and you're doing the same exercises, then he's also movement illiterate. He's designed. He has a blueprint. It's calculated. It's a system. It's a program, which means you're following a program. But this system here is not a program. This is not mechanical. It's a mechanical, because movement illiteracy means that we are mechanically prone. We are moving like robots, or we're not moving at all as if we are a robot just sitting there and eating. But this body wants to flourish. It wants to move. It wants to dance. It wants to skip. If you look at children, you see them skipping and hopping. They just do it naturally. They're not really waiting for Tuesday. Let me see, Tuesday I'll skip, and on Friday I'll jump, and they're not writing it down. But we've become so movement illiterate that we have schedules, 7 p.m. like a dentist. And so what happens there is that right there, me needing to tell my trainer, so what am I going to do today? Oh, today's legs. And then I go, I don't want to do legs because my body is out. But if the body is in, so what are we going to do today? Today we're going to do legs. Nah, I want to do core, I want to run, and I want to freaking wrestle. Something that your body decides. And your trainer will be like, okay, what is he going to say? You say, nah, man, my legs are shot from the last workout, or I'm not really feeling my legs, trainer. I want to work my arms or this or my back, or I want to freaking run around the block 1,000 times because I have so much energy that I just want to move my body in that manner, which is your body itching and wanting to move. Now, if that comes to play, the takeaway from this is that you'll never struggle working out because your body will move like a child does. If you watch children, they absolutely need no freaking introduction to the move. They see the playground and they freaking fire away and they're freaking charging to that playground. You can do that too, but the problem is that our system, our innate system that is ready to move has been smashed with the calculated measures and the programs, and the Mondays are the universal chest days, and then on Tuesday you take a break, and then on Wednesday you do the legs, and then on Friday you do the chest, you do the pull day, you do the push day. It's freaking calculated in what that's doing. That system, if it wasn't calculated, it wouldn't be bad. But because it's calculated, it's terrible, because that's what puts us in a position to always struggle to work out. Between these 4 points that I've made so far, I've yet to struggle ever to work out. It happens automatically. Sometimes for half an hour I work out, sometimes for 40 minutes, sometimes for 10 minutes I do a freaking spur. Sometimes I'm 2 hours at a playground with the kids. And so I'm constantly moving. I take the stairs everywhere, all the time, whenever I get a chance. If I'm tired, then I take the escalator. But my body's constantly moving. And so maybe with these 4 points, you can stir the pot a little bit. And when your trainer says, all right, we're doing chest now, or your trainer says, take the 10 kg, you say, give me 12. And you're just feeling strong, so you freaking amping things up for your sake, not for anything else. You're doing it because your body has a certain sense. Also, last thing, and I'll close here, your body is never the same from one day to the next or from one area of the day to the next. You should know this. If you do not know this, you're movement illiterate, because there's sometimes at night where I feel real strong. In the morning, there's something about me that's more athletic. So in the mornings, if I had to run and jump and hop, I'll freaking be awesome. And then at nighttime, there's a certain power that hits me. And so you have a certain area where there's a certain thing that you're freaking ready to do. So at this time, you're gonna charge, maybe walk here, and then up here it's like, okay, I take the stairs here and I come down, and then over here, like at nighttime, my freaking cardio thing is gone, so I do that early at nighttime. I do the weight training, and you are now moving your body accordingly, and you're not moving it to a design system. And so, man, that's 4, and hopefully you can look at all of them and change them, and that's it. Change every single one, and you will step out of being movement illiterate. And so you can keep your bodybuilding that's stiff, but maybe you want to move in some way, in any way, so you're not stuck like a robot following others, all for the looks. There's more to it. And so I'm going to get to all the extra juicy bits in part 2 of this freaking 4 video series, where there's going to be 12 points all together. I'll get to the next 4 in the next video. I hope this video came in handy. And so until part number 2, catch ya.